Hey guys, it's Mark and Paul again on another road trip. Are we in Kentucky right now?
Tennessee.
We're in Tennessee. We just went through Kentucky.
This is where you left me that time with the flat tire.
Oh yeah, with the Porsche.
You drove off and left me.
Hi friends, here I sat. My so-called friend threw me out, left the car on the side of the road, and is tore out for who knows where. And here I sat with my only friend, me, and I'm lonely and scared.
So we are headed to Atlanta, Georgia, and we still have another, 5 hours to go, I think. And we're in the old F-250 pickup truck that I've had, I think, since like 2005, because I think Andy was 10 when we bought it. And it is super old, and we've got 175,000 miles on it, but we had to use it because it's the only 3/4 ton we have to go get the newest project, our first pickup truck. So we'll show you when we get there, but it's we bought it through IAA or IAA now, and we did not buy it through Copart this time.
Good.
So we'll see how the process is when we get there. Hopefully it's smoother than it normally is. Stopping and getting gas in Tennessee somewhere.
How much is it around it? Today, it's the final push to reserve your ticket.
Check out our 6 lanes of traffic jam in Atlanta, Georgia. We have the truck on behind us, and I have not even shown it to you yet because of how everything went down with the pickup, but we'll show you when we stop.
Finally, home sweet home.
Man, that was a long trip. I was so tired of driving. How many hours was that?
I feel like it was like 11 hours there and like 12 and a half back or something.
Oh, man. Well, the worst thing about that trip was all the traffic. I mean, we were stuck in traffic like 25 years, it seemed like, you know? I mean,
Yep.
It just was like a...
Oh no. I guess Dad was tired from all that driving. He didn't see my car. Oh man.
Hi, truck! Hi, truck!
What about my car? Oh no! Look at that!
But my truck.
Man, I wonder if that'll buff out. Oh gosh, I hope so.
All right, guys, so here's our new project, the one that Paul and I just went and got. And we have to apologize for the fact that we didn't get hardly anything filmed in Atlanta. It was just chaos the whole time, and we were picking it up from IAA instead of Copart, and they got us loaded so ridiculously fast we didn't have time to get a camera set up. I mean, we pulled in, said we were there, and in 5 minutes it was on the trailer. So, and then we were in traffic for multiple hours stuck. We just didn't get anything filmed. So here's what we got. This is a 2019 Chevy Silverado 2500 HD, as you can see. Duramax. It's got the Allison transmission. This is not like a fancy Denali or anything with leather. It's just a work truck. So the inside of it, I'll show you here in a minute. It's just strictly made for work and power. It's got a lot of power. It is a non-runner. No power. There's no power going into the. I just said it had a lot of power, but I mean there's no power going into the inside. There's no airbags blown, which is weird with this kind of damage. So the thing that we were kind of thinking that it might have happened to cause this was it was parked somewhere, and the damage is so high we assume that a tractor trailer or something backed into it. And if you've got 20 tons backing up, they can just smashed everything just like this, just with it just sitting still. So that could be what happened, but there's no, I mean, if it was driving, if the thing's on and it hit like this, there'd be airbags blown, surely. But when I got there, started looking at it, it's more it's worse than I thought, like it always is, under the hood. So, like when you like peek in there, I was worried about this area like right in here where you can see there's our battery down there, and you first try to wonder why there's no power, you know. And so is it just dead batteries? When these things are at car auctions and the hood is not able to be lifted up and the battery goes dead, they have to, you know, just call it a non-runner because there's no power to it, and they won't do any kind of work on a car to get the hood up. So it is what it is when it comes to the car auction. And when I looked in there and saw the battery all knocked sideways, and then I see a plug right here. I don't know if you can see it or not, but that's like one of the main plugs going to one of the modules. And I thought, oh man, it's gonna have smashed, you know, tore up modules and all that. And it's way more compacted in there than what I thought it was from the pictures. And here's another thing you find at auctions when you look in these trucks. People walk by, the workers at the auctions, and they'll just throw their trash into whatever vehicle is sitting around.
Well, it's so convenient.
Like, so there's just all sorts of like trash shoved in here. I'm hoping that once we pop this hood up and can dig around in there and get the 2 batteries off and get them charged up and get some power into this, hopefully that we see that we still have good, you know, like the dash lights up and we get good power, and it's just nothing but dead batteries and not some kind of major electrical issue. So let's continue to take a walk around. The damage was from here up. So if you look down here, I think this is the oil cooler, transmission cooler, something. And it's not even touched. So that's good. Hopefully that's savable. These lines all look good. The condenser is shot, obviously. Don't know about the radiator behind that. I would guess it's shot, but there's no, you don't see any antifreeze where it has leaked anywhere. So it could be okay and maybe just pushed back. Of course, we have headlights both smashed, all the grill stuff. These 2 fenders, hood. But we'll just have to know more when we get in there. But all these little things up here add up a lot, you know, as you start adding all this stuff. And another issue with why we've never done a truck before is that we don't have room. You guys have seen the channel over the years. We don't have room in that shop for a truck. I mean, this thing will not physically fit in my shop. So everything I do to it, once I get it running up here in the driveway, I can get it driven down there to the shop. I'll just have to leave it outside the door and work on it outside. And so now it's summer and you can do that. You can't really do that in the winter. So, like these doors, there might be a little bit of damage right here on this door and on the other side where somebody's opened it against these fenders. And then I've got damage back here on this bed side, which I don't know if that was done during the wreck or what that was. And I did not see this at all on the photos on the auction because they wrote, I don't know if you can see down here, large dent, but they wrote in white on a white truck. So I did not see this dent. I didn't see anything about this at all on the auction, even though I'm sure it was there. So I don't know if we're going to have to replace that side or whether Mike and I or one of us can get this dent out. I know it'll have to be repainted, but we'll just have to see if we can get it out. Another cool thing about this truck is that if you look in here, see we've got these braces right here. That tells us that it's either got set up for a 5th wheel or a gooseneck 1 in here. And I have it, the back of the truck is full of junk, so I don't know if there's a gooseneck ball under all that or if there's, if it's got, I don't think there's a 5th wheel, but we'll just have to see what it's set up for. But it does have power back here to hook up your lights and stuff or whatever you're pulling. So it's set up to pull. I don't see any damage on the tailgate. Got a busted tail light. This side of the bed is great. Don't see any issues with it. It's got aftermarket wheels and tires. It's got fuel, off-road rims, and Nido, is that how you say it?
Yep.
Tires. What are those? Those are
295 60 R20s.
Yeah, 295. Show the interior here. one reason that I was interested in this, I always said I did not want another truck that did not have leather interior, but this one had covers on all the seats. So hopefully the seats are like really good shape underneath there. I hope they are, because it's got covers on the back and the front. And if you look on the floorboard, this big giant mat covers all the carpet, but all the carpet is under it. I mean, it's got brand new carpet underneath there, so it's never been used without this mat. So I thought that was cool. You get all this trash out. It's definitely used to haul people back and forth to work somewhere. But it's just a plain Jane work truck. There's no...
It's got a touchscreen.
Yeah, touchscreen, which has got a backup camera, and you can project your phone to it and that kind of stuff. But it doesn't have like dual climate control or leather seats or any of that kind of stuff. It's just kind of plain, regular old controls up there. We don't know mileage. Sometimes you can look in these things and find a oil change sticker. It will tell close to what it is. Andy, you want to climb in there and look? Are you going to do it from the back seat?
Yeah.
I see a sticker up there.
Okay, it looks like we've got next service mileage 108,026.
So that's a bummer. I was really hoping it had way less miles than that. For 2019, that's a huge amount of miles for a 19.
On the bright side though, it is a diesel, so that's not a whole bunch of mileage for one of these anyway.
What do you guys think about that? Would that be disappointing to you if you bought one of these and found out it had that many miles, or would you say that's nothing, it's a Duramax? And what do you think it's worth? So that's kind of a little walk around on this, and our first step is going to be trying to get that hood, that latch knocked loose on the hood and get it raised up. So if you look under here, the latch is already broken right here. One side of it's off, so all we got to do is hit this thing right here with something to break it loose, and we should be able to raise it up and look in there and get a good shot of what it is. All right, I'm gonna try to just hit this thing right here and break it loose the rest of the way. I mean, I'm not gonna hurt anything. Everything is totally destroyed, so if that will break loose, we can raise the hood.
Hey, all right. So we're a little squished up in here, it looks like.
Here's where I was worried, because this is all important stuff right here. What bothers me is this piece that this fender is bolted to. There's that little rail that goes around here and curves around. It's usually like riveted in up here on the firewall underneath the pillar. That thing is bent all up, so it's going to be probably some more detailed replacing than I've ever done before on that section of the vehicle. And I'm just hoping that none of this stuff got like destroyed. That's the brains. I don't see any like broken wires or anything cracked or anything like that. This looks like it's smashed up, like packed it up together. And then when I look over here, you see where the fan is up against the front of the motor. We'll not know until we dig all this stuff out, like how, yeah, the radiator's definitely shot. You see the curve there. This is the upper radiator support. All that's got to come out before we can try to pull it back. But you can see how far this upper radiator hose is up on top of the engine. That's how far it pushed in. I saw that there was a recall on this for some kind of for the block heater. And here's the end of the block heater hookup. So whenever we get this thing replaced or get this thing all rebuilt, we'll take it into the dealer and they'll replace whatever part of that block heater is problem.
Think they'll fix the truck as a result of the recall?
Yeah.
You did this.
And here's our other battery over here. So we need to just get some chargers right here and start charging all this stuff so we can see what we got on the inside. All right, so I'm gonna start trying to get this stuff pulled back off on this truck enough to where I can get it off the pulleys and all that on the motor, see what's in the front of the motor, if there's any damage to you know, any of the belt or that area. And so I'm just going to start taking out bolts, and I'm going to get some good pictures of where everything goes. And I think just about everything up here is either 10 millimeter or 13 millimeter bolts. So I'll just start zipping stuff out, jump on it. I'm getting deeper in here. Got this headlight off and all this back in here, and none of these wires are, you know, on the main harness are broke or anything like that. They're just all unplugged. And believe it or not, look at that. That's the washer fluid reservoir, and it's still full of fluid. How can that not have been smashed? So let's keep on going here. All right, so I'm down in this thing a little bit farther now. I've got all that center bracing stuff off, and I'm just now trying to get to where the fenders are attached to this front radiator support. And man, I think the fenders on this thing, I've never dealt with one of these before, but I think this fender is all one piece. Like the outside and inside, I think is all made together. So I think when that fender comes off, you just got nothing in there except the motor. So that one over there is so pinched in the door that I'm going to work on this one first and see if I can try to figure out how everything's mounted in there and get it off. And the goal is to get this whole thing pulled forward enough so we can see back behind there to see if there's any damage to the motor. So we'll just keep on working on that and seeing how far we can get. Well, I've come to the decision. There's no way to get this out without this. So I'm going to cut through some plastic stuff and get this thing broke out, this intercooler, because it's up against everything, both directions. There's no way to move it. So all else fails, Sawzall. In this hobby, sometimes you buy a car that's a biohazard. Sometimes you make one yourself. All right, finally got down to the engine. Man, that was a killer getting that, especially that last one out, because it was so crammed in there with the fan and all that. I ended up having to take the fan off of the clutch here. But the belt is even still on the engine. I don't see any like tore up stuff on tensioner or pulleys or anything like that. Boy, that was a close one where it hit the hose here. Didn't tear up the housing. It did tear up that hose there. Look how huge that fan is. It's gigantic. Only I do see some stuff up in there. Looks like the top of the wiring harness is popped off there. Hopefully that's just pop it back on. But it's gonna be a while before we can get that deep to get the battery out and all that stuff, because this whole radiator support right here that's bent back, I mean, all that stuff, you can, now we are able to get to the bolts, but all that is connected. So when that pushed that back, that's why that all looks like such a mess right there. So you just need to get this thing off and start figuring out if there's any more damage back up in there. This side, I mean, I don't think we even had any broken tubing or anything like that. Well, guys, thanks for watching this episode of Rebuild It, our first ever truck build. Let us know in the comments below what you think. Are you going to be kind of into this truck stuff, or would you rather go back to cars? It's interesting to do something different, and I kind of like the heavy dutiness of doing a truck, but we'll just see how involved it is by the time this build's over. So let us know what you think in the comments and give us a thumbs up below. We'll see you next week.
And always remember, don't retire it if you can rebuild it. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in and watching this week's episode of Rebuild It. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any awesome content. Have a good one.